Even we are still figuring out what clicks and why something clicks season after season. I don't like using the word sustainable. I think we're very, very, very far away as a whole industry from the word sustainable. I can't imagine someone just, taking a picture and literally translating it. So I think there's a really fine line between copying and inspiration. And I hope that the existence of someone like Diet Sabya, which I think was really needed, especially in the Indian space, it's a good thing that someone like Diet Sabya has come into existence, just because it pushes you to be even more original. It's almost impossible to research every garment that was ever made.
Hi guys, welcome back to Pink Villa. I'm Priyanka Modi, and today we have with us Saksha from Saksha and Kinney. For the Unverse, the design label and the designer duos are famous among a lot of Bollywood celebrities like Alia Bhatt, Shraddha Kapoor and Kiara Advani, to name a few. Not just that, recently we also stalked them and found out that Sophia Rishi and Sharon Stone have also worn your designs. So hi Saksha, how does it feel?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It feels amazing. Our goal was always to kind of put India on the map, Indian prints, colors, embroidery techniques. We really wanted to showcase them in a very global way. So the fact that these, icons are wearing our creations is amazing.
So just to start off with a little bit of a background, how did you guys come together and decide to start a label of your own?
So we're actually sisters-in-law. So I was a lawyer, she was doing embroidery. So it was very, very random that, we kind of came up with this idea. But I grew up in the West, she grew up in India. Embroidery, she was doing really cool embroidery swatches for Balmain, Armani, Gucci, D Squared, and I had a very different background. I'm a lawyer. So I was in High Court. I just moved to India. I was working in High Court, and I took a break from work to when we got engaged. So it was actually my father-in-law, Kinney's father, who was like, you both love fashion so much. Why don't you do this? And I was just like, that's so random. Like, why would he even suggest that? But actually, our sense of fashion is very, very alike. For two people who grew up in different worlds, have different interests, our fashion senses really align. So we just thought of it as, there's a gap in the market. Let's create clothes that we like, that we feel are important to make. And then, it just kind of spiraled into the brand. And I'm so glad that random question kind of happened, because 3-4 years on, it's been amazing so far.
So now that in just 3-4 years, you're now the finale designers and showcasing your collection at the finale for Lakme Fashion Weeks. How does it feel?
Surreal. I'm still like, wait, am I dreaming? Is this happening? Like you said, it was exactly 3 years ago that, we participated in Gen Next. And that was a separate dream all on its own. We had heard so many horror stories of, you can apply, but, it's so difficult to get in. And we said, okay, let's just try, let's apply and make a really good collection and see what happens. And, we were lucky enough to get chosen. We showcased, and, really our careers changed after Lakme Fashion Week. So to have the opportunity to, close Fashion Week this year was just unbelievable. When we got the call, we were both like, wait, is this a prank? Is it a hoax? But no, it's an absolute honor. I think the designers that have done the finale, over the last, 10, 15 years, they're all designers that we really look up to, that we're so inspired by. So to go down in history books alongside those names in itself is an honor. So I think it's still a pinch me moment. I think until after the show, we won't quite believe that we're doing it.
So since you're in London right now and Kinney is in India, how you all managing? I know I've been to fashion weeks and I know the kind of hustle that goes behind the shows and to put a show together. So how are you all managing it?
Under any normal circumstances, I would have been like, we're freaking out. But something always happens, and every time we've showcased at Lakme, apart from Gen Next, one of us has always been out of the country. Last year, I was there. Kinney got stuck abroad because there was some some problem with flights. It was a global thing where flights weren't coming out of Europe and she got stuck. So by now we're actually really used to something crazy happening and one of us not being there. But the pressure of a finale collection and me not being there, that was a little different this time. all our work has had to be over Zoom, and I'm not there to physically touch the fabrics. I'm relying on her touch and sight. But you learn from these experiences, and next time we're together and we create a collection, it's going to be even better. Now we've kind of understood how to design over the phone. When it comes to being in person, I'm sure it'll be even stronger. So it's been a good life lesson, and if there's one thing this year has taught any of us, it's just how to adjust and carry on.
Yes, I think that goes for all of us. And another thing that I wanted to ask you was that you play a lot with prints. So how do y'all come about with, okay, this is the kind of color palette we want, these are the kind of prints we want. Also, you do a lot of print on print action. So what's next in this department?
So I feel like prints really is something we've become known for, and it's really exciting each season to kind of challenge ourselves, because the kind of difficulty with prints is as soon as you see a print in a color, you either like it or you don't. It's not something that grows on you. You immediately know if you like it or you don't. So the challenge every season and every collection is just to make sure that every print we put out there for us is a hit, because even if it's slightly okay, it's not going to work. So it's a real challenge getting the right, first of all, the shapes in our prints, the color combinations in our prints. It is a challenge, but I think the goal is really to even more improve in terms of color combinations, palettes, shades. We do a lot of shading within our prints. None of our prints are just, solid black with pink or green and red. Even that green will have 50 shades of green inside it. So, just to continuously push ourselves, and, we want to become known more for our embroideries as well, our hand micro pleating. So we want to bring all these techniques into it, but definitely in the prints and color section, just, up our game, collection after collection, really explore with cooler combinations of colors. I mean, I think it's endless, the possibility of shapes within prints and colors within prints. So, just to delve deeper and explore more shades, more tones, that's the goal.
I think that's great. Now, coming on to our next question, in the last 3-4 years, obviously there are a lot of other design labels and other already well-established labels who play with prints and embroideries. How have you managed to create like your own niche in this area? And how have you managed to stay relevant?
Honestly, I don't think there's any, secret ingredients to this. It's just about, everything coming together in a collection well in terms of silhouette, print, color, embroidery. So, even we are still figuring out what clicks and why something clicks season after season. But I think, like I said, immediately when it's a print and a color, you either love it or you hate it. There's never it's okay. So and we take months and months. Someone asked me the other day, it must take like weeks to create a print, and I was like, no, it actually takes months. 6 months of the year going just designing prints. So it is a challenge, and it is something that we really take seriously, because no matter how strong our silhouettes may be and the pairing and the combinations may be, if a print doesn't work, your collection's gone. If a color's off, your collection's gone. So definitely, I think staying relevant is the key. And I think just keeping up with, I don't like to use the word trends, because I don't think we're people who follow trends, but keeping up with, what women love, whether it be music, books, colors, travels. We take a lot of inspiration from real life women, our friends, our family members, strangers when we travel. So I think staying relevant is just keeping up to date and, knowing what's happening around the world.
I think that answers my question. Now, coming on to the pandemic, I mean, that's a conversation we cannot miss. So how do you think that the industry has moved towards like a positive side due to the pandemic? I mean, on a more sustainable part, or do you think that a few designers or labels are still suffering?
Of course, I think there is suffering happening, because let's be honest, business isn't what it was pre-pandemic. But I also think this pandemic has taught us a lot of positives, and I really hope that designers implement change, because I think when we finally come out of all this, those that survive will be the ones that adapted and changed. For example, I mean, I don't like using the word sustainable. I think we're very, very, very far away as a whole industry from the word sustainable. But I think, as designers, if we become more ethically and socially responsible, that's a huge, huge change that can happen and should happen. For example, the littlest things, going season fluid. Back in February, actually, Kinney and I decided we would no longer be designing for a particular season. I think it's so much more important to the consumer. I see myself as a consumer, and I don't want to buy something that's only meant for spring summer 2018 or Winterfest 25. I want something in my wardrobe that I can mix around, match with, and play around for every season, because that's value for money. I also think within a collection, there's no point putting 60 garments out there. Half of those are going to end up in landfill sites at one stage or another. I think it's really important to just make key pieces per collection, limit the number of clothes, the wastage, everything. If we take these small, ethical, socially responsible approaches, I think those are the designers that will come out of this stronger and will have less suffering.
I think that's a great thought. Now, moving on to, like you said, you're doing like these trans-seasonal clothing and all of that. Do you think, or do you see yourself dipping your toes in unisex clothing?
Definitely, I do think that's something that we both would like to do. If you see our wardrobes, we do wear a lot of our, husband's shirts, our husband's t-shirts. I lived in my dad's clothes for like 6 months of the year this year, because they're just so much more comfortable. And I think even when we design, though we do design for women, it's not that we are excluding men from our clothes, because honestly, with prints, anyone who's bold enough and or experimental enough can wear those printed shirts. And in fact, a lot of our male clientele have asked for the same shirts that are on female models. So I do think that's a direction we both want to take, because that is our vibe. Our personal wardrobes, like what I'm wearing right now, it's an oversized t-shirt. I mean, a man or a woman could wear this t-shirt. And same with Kinney. We like oversized, we like comfortable, non-gender, gender fluid clothing. So I do think that's going to be the fashion, the future of Saksha Kinney for sure. But it's something that we haven't full-fledgedly dipped our toes into, because we just feel one step at a time. Let's perfect this first, and we're far away from doing that. So before we add more things to our repertoire, I think it's important just to kind of not perfect, but improve on what we're already doing.
Now moving on to, what does this season for Saksha and Kinney hold? Like,
this
what
finale. So I hope it brings a lot of excitement. We were very excited by the collection. We wanted to experiment this season with a lot more drapery and cooler silhouettes. So for example, you'll see Kedia style shirts rather than a simple collared shirt. We paired a micro mini skirt with a shirt and a drape over one shoulder. So just adding a little bit of cool kind of layering and adding another dimension to the clothes. We've also done something cool this season. We've taken embroidery and made a print out of it. So for example, the Banjara tribe, they're famous for their exquisite mirror hand embroidery. And we wanted to not only show that work off in our embroideries, we also wanted to create a print out of it. So you'll see, these cool kind of Banjara mirror type prints, which are reflective of the embroidery. And that's something we've not really done before. So that was something that we were really, really excited by. And we've added a lot of cool hair accessories this season. I just think that little added kind of magic really brings out garments. So that's also something that visually we wanted to convey. So yeah, we have cool, 3-4 little pops of, I hope, magic in there that, once the show is out, people will be able to see.
I'm very excited for the hair accessories. Now moving on to our last question. Since you mentioned your one print, your one design takes approximately 6 months to make. Now, that Diet Sabya calls out these designers who literally take inspiration from other and put it out there as their own collection. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't think anyone sets out to copy. I mean, I can't imagine someone just, taking a picture and literally translating it. So I think there's a really fine line between copying and inspiration. And I hope that the existence of someone like Diet Sabya, which I think was really needed, especially in the Indian space, it's a good thing that someone like Diet Sabya has come into existence, just because it pushes you to be even more original. And even where you think, oh, this has inspired me, but not so much, you double think and you double check and you do your research. I don't think before Diet Sabya came, many designers were actually doing their research, and research takes months. I mean, it's no joke to look back and be like, is this original? Has anyone done this before? That takes a lot of work, and it's almost impossible to research every garment that was ever made. But I think, even making that effort of kind of looking into archives, it makes you a better designer and it makes your collection stronger for sure. So yeah, I think it was very, very needed. But I also do think that there is a fine line between, copying and inspiration. I mean, it's very difficult to create a garment that's never been created before. We're all doing adaptations of something that already exists. So I do think there's a fine line, as long as it's not, a direct copy, which is, such a shame and a waste of time. I think a little bit of inspiration here and there is only human.
I think that answers my question. It was great talking to you, Saksha, and all the very best for the collection.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making the time to speak with us today.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.